Hi, I'm Mario Ariave with Utmost Performance Coaching. Today I want to talk about two specific aspects of a training plan. I want to talk about the training portion, and then I want to talk about the rest and the recovery portion. First, let's define really and truly what the training portion of your plan is. It's a breaking down. It's the part of the plan where you're putting in the work, you're doing the workouts, you're executing whatever plan it is that you're following, and essentially you're breaking your body down. The rest and the recovery portion of this plan that you're on is going to be where you're actually going to get stronger, where the breaking down that you've done, now there's a rebuilding that happens during that rest and recovery process. So we've got a breaking down and then we've got a building up. And if you do that over and over through time, then what you find is the breaking down allows you to make you stronger when you properly rest and you properly recover. But I want to talk about something that maybe some of you have experienced throughout this process. If you've done a training block and then you've had a rest or a recovery block, and kind of some of the things you may be feeling and why you're feeling this way. Now, when you begin training and breaking your body down, your body being as awesome of an organism as it is, it begins to say, all right, this particular individual is working hard and there's some kind of stress that they're putting on the system. And so therefore, what the body does is the body begins to release certain hormones and chemicals, specifically in two of them, catecholamines and cortisol. And what it does is these things, these chemicals that are released, they get together to form kind of a cocktail, if you will, that allows you to dull that pain and that discomfort that you may be feeling because of your training. In other words, as you go about training and as you go about executing sessions and workouts and intervals and those kinds of things, this cocktail is flowing freely within your body and it's allowing you to push yourself harder and to push yourself further without you actually realizing what's going on. Now, when we talk about the term overtraining or overreaching, what we're talking about is at some point, if you continue to train, break that body down, do those intervals, do those long rides, whatever it happens to be, and you overstep the boundaries, all of a sudden that cocktail, those catecholamines and that cortisol, it can't keep up with what you're doing to your body. So therefore, all of a sudden you begin to feel that little bit of soreness. Am I ringing a bell here? You begin to feel that little bit of fatigue. You don't sleep as well as you used to. You're kind of staying up. You're always wired. You're always on because you're getting into that overtraining. The body all of a sudden is sending you a signal and saying, hey, you know what? Like these catecholamines, this cortisol that I've got flowing within your body, it's no longer going to be able to hold you up. And so what's the solution? The solution is rest and recovery. So when you take that rest and that recovery, here's what's happening first and foremost. All of a sudden the body goes, oh, okay, this individual is coming off of a training block. Now the body doesn't know that, but it's labeling it as you're not working as hard anymore. You're not trying to hurt me. You're not trying to break me down. And so, I know what I'm going to do. The body during this rest and recovery period begins to reabsorb that cocktail. So it says, hey, we don't need this thing flowing within your system anymore. So I'll go ahead and I'll take it back up like a sponge. I'm just going to soak it back up into the system. And so that's when that growth, that's when that adaptation, that's when that strengthening happens. However, what happens is once that cocktail is gone, your muscles don't automatically just feel good from one day to the next. If you've gotten on a recovery week, just because Sunday was your last day in that training block, that doesn't mean that Monday, all of a sudden you feel amazing because you took the day off. Some of you might have experienced, you know what, during this recovery week, my goodness, I don't feel very good. But don't let that alarm you because what's happening is the cocktail has been reabsorbed. And so now your body's saying, hey, by the way, this is what you've done to me for the last 3 weeks or last 4 weeks or during this, big racing block that you've done. You've hurt me. Your muscles, they're sore. I'm tired. I need some more sleep. That cocktail's not there anymore. It's not present. And so now your body is allowing you to feel everything that you've put it through during that training block when you were breaking it down. So again, to reiterate, some of you have felt not the best during a recovery week. Don't panic. It's okay. It's because that cocktail has been reabsorbed. So to kind of land the plane on this topic of training and then rest and recovery, the $1,000,000 question is always, well, let me back up before I give you the answer to that one. Let me back up here and say, when you're training and when you're racing, you're going to do that best when this cocktail is present, because it's in a sense, it's a painkiller. It allows you to push yourself further without you really understanding and feeling what it is that's going on. And so what you want to do is you want to get into that hard training. You want to do that racing when this cocktail is present. And so now back to our $1,000,000 question. The $1,000,000 question is, well, Mario, what does that mean in terms of when do I train? When do I break down? When do I rest? When do I recover? As the old adage and the old saying goes, timing is everything. It's trying to figure out how you can get a good, nice, solid training block in where you're breaking the body down, you're stressing it, you're getting it ready to be rebuilt and strengthened during that rest and that recovery period. And the trick is you don't want to overrun that training block and break yourself down too much to the point where that rest and that recovery period just can't do enough for you to get you back to square one where you can get that training block going again. And so what I would advise is try to come up with some kind of a system where you put those rest and recovery weeks, or if you want to do more than a week, a rest recovery period, have them planned out in advance per se, because that way you're not going to, because here's the deal, when them painkillers are flowing, you feel great, you want to keep going, you want to keep riding, you want to increase the intensity, you want to increase the volume, you want to do all those things because you're riding a high. You're feeling really, really good. But the downside of that is you're kind of being tricked. The body's hiding all of that's happening from you until you get to that rest and that recovery period. So putting those and scheduling those into your plan would probably be a good idea until you learn yourself well enough to understand the telltale signs of, I think I'm getting to the end of where my painkillers are going to take me, and I probably need to take some rest and some recovery. So there it is. I don't have a clear-cut answer. I don't think any coaches or experts have the clear-cut answer, because really and truly, it really depends on the individual. It depends on what life looks like off the bike for you and all those kind of things. You've got to kind of put all those things together, and you've got to kind of analyze and interpret that. And you've got to know yourself well enough to be able to make those kinds of decisions. But there's the mechanism with which we do the whole breakdown and strengthen. So I hope that this was helpful for you. If you have any questions, which I'm sure some of you will, because tapering or getting ready for a big event or whatever is such a delicate topic, then I would love to entertain those for you. But if not, I hope you enjoyed the video, and go back, check out some of the other videos that I've got over some great topics, and we'll talk again soon.